Hey everybody, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator. We're in Boise, Idaho, the Idaho DLC, and I couldn't find any other jobs going south into Idaho, but I found one in Provo, Utah, which is just over the state line, and that will take us through Idaho, right? We'll have to drive, obviously, through Idaho to get to the state line, and what we'll do is we'll go half an hour if we're in Provo. We'll end the video there. If not, we'll end it at 30 minutes. I'll finish off camera, and next episode will be somewhere in southern Idaho, and we'll continue on our way north. I think that makes sense.
Ready to roll.
So we'll get this fired up. Get my headset turned down. We'll get rid of this. Don't need that. That's on. Brakes off. And we are going, where exactly? I think we can get out that way. Okay. Here we go. And we've got, do we have fuel? Yeah, we have enough fuel to get there. Right, how's everybody doing? It's Friday for me. It's also Friday for you. Normally I record these in the morning, render during the afternoon, upload in the evening, and then make them public the next day. But I'm running super late. It's been a very hectic week for me. I'm running super late, so I'm going to record this right now, render it right now, upload it right now, and hopefully it'll be live by 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So a couple hours late. But at least we'll get it done today. And I think we're good so far. Yep, here we go. So yeah, made it through another week. It's been not because of anything going on like in the world as far as, you know, events, the things we don't talk about. Nothing like that. It's just been a hectic week for me. A lot going on. Doing stuff. Just busy. And haven't been able to record the way I like to. I'm also in I think a bit of a slump. I get in a slump every now and then with games. It's like none of my titles really do it for me, and I think, and we've talked about this before, that because some of the titles that we play, I would never say that they're not fun, but some of the titles that we play, playing them can feel like work. They are very intense. And something like a season, because I've got a lot of seasons going on right now. I've got an F1 season. Now I've got a GT4 season going on. I've got a MotoGP season. And I've got a MXGP season. Yeah, motocross. So I've got 4 seasons going on. Just realized we're at like 40 FPS. What's that all about? All right. We'll keep an eye on things. So all those seasons, I don't know, they can feel very intense, you know. And it's fortunately all of them are in sort of the meat of the season right now, and things are going fairly well. But particularly toward the end of the season, if the points are getting tight, that can really feel like can feel like work, right? You really don't want to screw up any part of your race weekend that late in the season. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just want a game for fun. We've got a farm going on right now, and again, as I'm saying this, I always like to clarify. I'm not saying that this is like work, or I am in any way, you know, put upon like I'm suffering or something. Gaming is, of course, completely elective. It's something we choose to do. So if it's ever frustrating, you know, you can just turn that game or sim off. So that's not, oh yeah. As soon as we turned away from the sun, we jumped up to 80 FPS. Okay, that's interesting. That may have something to do with the shadows, the new shadows we're running, and we are. Yep, as we turn back toward the sun, it drops down a little bit. And we are pushing everything out on ultra settings. Everything is maxed out, and my system is good, but it's not great. It's not the kind of system that can run every game on ultra settings. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Plus, the DLC is new. They're going to continue to optimize it and do things with it. Little train yard over here. on the right, and that looks like one of the locos that we have in Train Sim World. That looks like the Baby Bullet that we have in the Peninsula Corridor route. Yep, I would bet that is the same loco. So anyway, yeah, just sort of feeling, I don't know, I go through my library and I'm looking for a sim. I'm looking for a game, you know, something new, something that'll just be fun to play. And sometimes you don't find that title, you know, you don't find that title you're looking for. That just happened right there. All right. That will, I don't know, just be fun to play for a while. Now I did, you know, I got a new gamepad last week, and then just a couple days ago I got a new headset. I was so pleased with the Razer Wolverine gamepad that I got. I went ahead and got a Razer Kraken Ultimate headset, which is wired. You know, we'll talk about that a little bit as we get rolling, but I think I'm about done with wireless. All right, so we go here, and we're going to take wood shavings to Provo. And it's how far? 366 miles. Yeah, not likely that we'll get there in one episode, but we'll drive through all of this part of Idaho. And then next episode, we'll start from Logan, maybe Jackpot, and we'll head up and try to get these 4 cities down here. Right, so let's take this. And where's our job? Over right there. Yep. So what that did allow me to do is then take my SteelSeries wireless gamepad that I thought about just like throwing away because it's out of refund. I can't get a refund for it. I thought about just throwing it away, and I've got a Logitech G933 Artemis wireless headset. And rather than just dumping those in the closet and never using them again, I set them up on my laptop, my gaming laptop. And I think what I might do, and I've been contemplating this, but I think what I might do is take that into the other room, HDMI to the big-ass TV, and just flop down on the couch and just play some video games and have some fun. Because I feel like I've been kind of moving away from that by playing more and more intense games. You know, and I think about people that are into like iRacing. I mean, really into it. I'm a little bit into it, but some people are really, really into iRacing to the point where it is like work. You know, if they've got a race coming up, they know they need to do 150 or 200 or 500 practice laps to be ready for that race. They won't do anything less than that because they're very serious about the results that they get. And that's cool. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You game the way you want to. But that is, at that point, I mean, that's awfully intense. And I think sun's up, so we can turn our lights off. Back in here, brake is off, and we are rolling. So yeah, I guess the opposite of that is what I'm looking for. Just to game the way I used to. You know, console gaming. I've been thinking about getting a console too, but I know the next gens are going to be super, super expensive when they come out. The previous gens, what are we calling it? Gen 4? Gen 4 PS4 Pro, Gen 4 Xbox. Those prices are going to drop off a lot very soon. But I don't necessarily want one of those. That's why the prices are going to drop off, so they can keep selling them. And then the Gen 5s are going to be very expensive, and I don't know if I want to take that plunge straight away. Also, some of my titles cross over, but I think some will not, and there are some console-specific titles that I'll want to get. And I'm not looking forward to that, really. That expense. I mean, if I were to go console, not looking forward to it. It's a lot of money to spend when I think about how many titles I have now, and you can look in your history. You can look in your profile, your account on Steam, and you can total up exactly how much money you've spent on games. And it's not a good number. It's not a pretty number. Now, it is spread over time. And we spend money on a lot of things. We spend money on coffee. You know, if you total up the amount that you spend on coffee in a lifetime, it makes your head spin. But we do it a cup at a time. You know, so it's a little different. You gotta live in this life. You gotta do things. And we drink coffee and we play video games, and that's how that goes. But the idea of spending that amount of money or a similar amount of money again, you know, jumping in on console, not a good feeling. All right, so we are fixing to leave Boise here, head south, and I believe if I remember my mountain states geography, I believe we will be crossing a mountain range between here and Provo, because Provo is kind of in the mountains. It's at the foot of the, it's at the Wasatch? Yeah, I believe so. So hopefully we'll see some mountains. I know there are definitely big mountains in Idaho. So let's see how that all goes. And I'm really perplexed by this frame rate. We've been like, I'd say 75 to 100 FPS pretty consistently, and we're at about 45 right now. Not sure where that is coming from. I'll take a look. They're continuing to patch the game, and it's a new DLC, like I said. So we'll see how it all works out. No complaints, though. What else is going on? I saw a notice that Ride 4 is going to drop early October, first week of October. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of excited. I like the franchise. But if I had any complaint about it, in particular, I noticed this with Ride 3. I think because Ride 3 was so much bigger than Ride 2, balance in games, it's so important. And what I noticed about Ride 3 is the game was so big and so sort of almost sandbox that I got lost sometimes. I mean, not lost on the roads, but lost as far as, you know, what do I want to do next? And it's not that I want a strictly 100% story-driven, narrative-driven, sort of boxed-in feeling in a game where it's obvious that you're only meant to do one thing next, right? There's one thing to do. That's it. We're moving away from that in game development. We're moving away from that as gamers. Our expectations are changing. We won't sort of tolerate that anymore. We want to feel like we're choosing our own adventure. But within that open world aspect, within that sandbox aspect, there needs to be some guidance. That's a good word for it. Yeah, there needs to be some guidance. There needs to be some direction to show you, like, you don't have to go here next, but you could certainly think about going here next, because if you did, it would open up this area, then this could happen. So I felt when I was playing Ride 3, there were times when I felt just sort of almost aimless. You know, it's like there were too many options. There was too much to do. I love the bikes. I really love the selection of bikes. It reminded me of Project Cars 2 in that the motorcycles in Ride 3 were not just... there's an easy list of supercars and hypercars to make if we're going to continue the analogy to Project Cars 2. Hypercars, supercars, right? Some classic cars. Yeah, there's an easy sort of generic list to make, but then there's also another layer underneath where you have some really special cars. The cars that car people love, right? There are plenty of cars that people that aren't car people know about, but car people are going to have a different kind of list, a special kind of list. And the Project Cars 2 car list always made me think the people that built this list are people that really love cars. Well, in the Ride franchise, the people that built that list of motorcycles, they are people that really like motorcycles. And there are, of course, you know, the classics and the motorcycles that everybody knows. But there are also some more obscure and more sort of special motorcycles. And it's a lot of fun to be able to ride those. A lot of bikes that I've owned in the past, like in real life, are represented there. And then the parts list allows me to tune the bikes in the game to be bikes that I've personally owned in the past. So the idea of having a tuned TL1000, right? That's an obscure bike. Who even remembers the TL1000? And people remember the RC51. I had one of those as I was going through my V-twin phase. I had an RC51. I had a TL1000. Everybody knows the RC51. Not as many people know the TL1000. So I love seeing bikes like that in there. And it's that part of it is really well developed and built and balanced. It's just the gameplay itself at times left me a little bit lacking. I did like that they had some of the British and Irish, what would you call them? They're road courses. Some of them are circuits, some of them are point to point. But I like that because other than TT Isle of Man, both 1 and 2, it's really difficult to find a game or a sim that has that type of racing and that type of riding. So I like seeing those circuits represented. That's a good thing. So, yep, that's coming in October. Dirt 5 is coming in October. WRC 8 is coming in September. I almost bought it on another platform today. The Steam embargo lifts in September, and we'll be able to have WRC 8 on Steam. But for now, it's available on Epic Game Store. And I thought about, there's really no reason to. It's going to be available on my preferred platform in a month. Why would I buy it now? I don't know. Just like I said, I look in my catalog sometimes. I look in my library, and it's like, yeah, nothing there is doing it for me. It's just not, it's just lacking. So, we'll figure it out. Now, I have tried, and I'm not going to name any of them. I thought about this when I was getting ready to record. I thought about, we could sort of name them and shame them. But let's not do that. Let's try to keep it on the positive tip. Other than to say that there are, and I'm seeing this more and more, what I'm beginning to think of as the Kicksteamer titles. And the Kicksteamer titles, so you got Kickstarter, right? Everybody knows what Kickstarter is. Kickstarter is it's not quite GoFundMe. You're not quite asking for a handout, but you sort of are. And that's okay. If you want to go that route, it's up to you. You do you. But it is, I feel like it's a platform and it's a methodology where people are not necessarily expecting anything in return. Now, I've contributed money on Kickstarter and received nothing in return. I've contributed money on Kickstarter and received something tangible in return almost immediately. I used to be very much into EDC, which is everyday carry, and that is just the stuff that guys carry in their pockets, the pocket knife, pen, right, keychains. And there's this whole subculture. You find a lot of it on Instagram. There's this whole subculture of people that are really into creating a very specific EDC loadout, right? A very specific kind of keychain, a very specific kind of whatever. And there was a thing, there's a device called the Parabiner, which is, you'll have to look it up. Parabiner, P-A-R-A, not C-A-R-A. Parabiner, and it's a very cool little EDC item. So there were other people at various times, making similar items to that. They were looking for money on Kickstarter. You kick them $100, and this is for long term. They're trying to raise money to get a CNC deck or a router or whatever. So you kick them $100, and you get your item FedEx to you a week later. And if they hit their goal, you're also going to get some other stuff further down the road once they get their CNC deck. But I've also sent people money on Kickstarter and received nothing. And that's the nature of the platform. You're taking your chances. On the other side, there is Steam, and Steam is there's nothing vague or charitable about Steam. You buy a product, sir. You buy a product for money. It's as simple as that. Here's my $70. Now you give me a video game. You do have a 2-hour play window, 2 hours of playtime to refund. I believe it's 2 hours or 14 days, whichever you get to first. But there's nothing charitable or supportive about that. Steam is strictly transactional. Here's my money. You give me that product, right? I'm noticing the past couple of years, people are sort of bridging the gap with that. And what they're doing is they're selling an early access game. And, where are we going? Trucks up here. Looking for the big green. I'm not seeing it. I'm still not seeing it. Where's the, there it is. That truck was clipping through it. Oh, okay, all these are static on the right. I thought all these trucks were slowly creeping forward. They're all parked. Okay, so there was only ever one lane that we could go into. No problem. What was I upset about? Oh, yeah, Kicksteamer. Yeah, Kicksteamer is the name that I came up with for it. And it's not quite Kickstarter because they're not on Kickstarter asking you to just give them money and take a chance. But they're also not selling a fully developed video game. It's somewhere in between. You are buying an early access game. Now, an early access game for like $14.99, perfect. That works for me. I know you're going to sell this for $50 later, but for now, it's not done. So you're just trying to raise a little money, and I will buy this game for $14.99. I just bought a skateboard game called Session, which is fantastic. And it's one of the hardest games I've ever played. It's going to take me a long, long time to get good at it. It's early access, but it was $15, and it's awesome. Everybody's happy. They get the money. I get the game. Everybody's happy. If that game was $49.99, I don't think I'd be as happy. And if the game was $49.99 and then I immediately had to kick in another $50 to buy a city DLC, now I'm feeling a little uncomfortable, right? You want $100 for a game that's not done yet, and best case scenario, the game does get done, but I feel like we can sometimes end up in a bit of a hostage kind of context where the developer is saying, buy this game or I won't finish it. Buy DLC or I won't finish it. I need money to finish this game. You give me money and I'll finish it for you. And that's I think a really, I don't like that business model at all. And I'm seeing it more and more. There was a game that I was following that got booted from, it was, they kept positioning themselves to be listed in upcoming releases. But they had been in that category for like 2 years, and Steam finally got enough complaints that they pulled them out of that category because an upcoming release is, maybe in the next 90 days, not in the next 24 months. Come on, man. They were abusing the system to continue to give their game visibility, but the game, well, they haven't finished it in 2 years, and it's very likely that they will never finish it at all now. Because as a developer, you take a chance when your game is delayed, when you can't deliver, that your game, when it is done now, will arrive in the marketplace already obsolete. And when you've got a big studio, Sucker Punch just released Ghost of Tsushima. It's Game of the Year material. People are talking about it for Game of the Year. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It was in development for 6 years. GTA 6 has been in development for what? 10 years? 20 years? And who knows how much longer. But Rockstar, they did that with Red Dead Redemption 2, and it was amazing. So a big studio like that has enough clout, that has enough of a reputation in the industry, Sucker Punch can reach out to Sony, can reach out to Sony and say, hey, we're building this game for PS4. We need some inside information on PS5 so that we can make the game compatible, so that we can whatever. Right? If you're a big enough developer, you can reach out to Unreal. You can reach out to the developers of Snowdrop or Havoc, or you can reach out to DICE. You can interact with people that make the engines and ask what's coming up. How can we build this game in 2020 that's not going to be released till 2022? What do you have planned for 2022? They can reach out to NVIDIA. They can reach out to AMD, right? When that game is released, even if it's in development for years and years, when it's released, it looks fresh and new and innovative. If you're a little struggling independent studio, you start a game in 2016, it gets released in 2020, and it looks like a game from 2016, right? So there's a lot that can happen in the development cycle of a game, and there are a lot of different ways that it can go south. And I think if that happens in the context of Kickstarter, it's bad enough. But if it happens in the context of some, fake forced early access program where people are buying a game for full pop and that game never gets done, at that point, you're just hiding behind early access. You're hiding behind beta. And there's some big titles out right now that have been in beta for a long, long time. And really they are, to me, I would categorize them as games that were released for retail, right? When they transitioned from beta to early access, really they transitioned from beta to retail. They just didn't call it that. Now, I know there's some EU rules where if you sell a game as a full retail title, then you do have to give refunds, but if you sell a game as a beta, you don't have to. You know, different ways that people are creative. And as a business person, I get that. It's not personally how I choose to run my business, but I get it. You know, you have to do what you have to do. And that's business. From a marketing perspective, the idea of gaming the system, the idea of gaming the system to get your title in a more promoted category before it's ready to be released, yeah, I get it. Good for you, man. But as a consumer, that sort of thing, you know, it makes me reluctant. It makes me reluctant even to buy games that are full retail if it's a day one purchase. And I'm going to, we're at 26:30. Perfect. I was just about to say, I'm going to pull in here and end the video. And just as I thought that, they told us we had to pull in here anyway. So yeah, I'm going to try to be positive about it. I'm going to try to be upbeat about it. But there are some games, there's some titles that I've had on my wish list, and I think I may take them off, you know, because I feel like we're really not necessarily going to see those games soon, possibly ever, you know, and that's just not cool. Sir, what's happening up there, buddy? I mean, I suppose we could end it here. There he goes. Maybe? Is he waiting on that other one to clear? Yep. Okay. So we'll get Wade. We'll pull back up to the, just to the entrance, back onto the freeway. And we'll call it there. That'll be about 28 minutes. Perfect. And then we will pick up from somewhere in northern Utah next episode. And we will head back into Idaho. And in fact, you know what? Let's go right over here. Right between these two trucks. Carefully. Like so. Right there. All right. There's neutral. Set the brake. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Engine is off. Get rid of that, I said. Don't need that. And then we'll pivot around here. Right about in there somewhere, we'll call it. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. This is mostly the Idaho DLC. A little bit of Utah DLC. See you next time. Take care now.